Q&A. If this is your first time joining us, I am Tracy Matson. I'm a certified professional dog trainer and certified behavior consultant. And I am excited to be here to answer all of your training questions. Also, if you haven't joined before, where's my pen? Please put your name and the state or country that you're from, because it just comes up Facebook user. So that will enter you into the drawing for a free bag of Pupford training treats. I just got my shipment. Okay, let me show y'all how big my shipments are. Oh, the dogs are all coming. They heard it. Okay, see that top box right there? That's all my Pupford stuff. I go through so many treats. Hey, Anita. But hey, you guys, it was a closed bag. I haven't opened it yet. So I use it for my dogs. I use it for clients' dogs, puppy class. So I go through a lot of treats, but I do have to say they are my absolute favorite. I'm not just saying that because I do stuff for Pupford. I don't get anything for selling them, but I do love them. Just today, I had a client who was worried about her dog gaining weight. And I said, these are only 1 calorie. And if they're big, I'll even break them in half for small dogs. So I like that they don't mess up my treat bag. They're not like slimy and stinky. They don't get under my fingernails, stuff like that. So anyway, I think I ordered 20 bags of treats. And then I also have some snuffle mats and lick mats in there for a nearby rescue. And then I also, hey, Renee. And then I also keep a few on hand for like snuffle mats and lick mats. I'll keep on hand if clients want to get them. Oh, my pen. What's wrong? Illinois. Okay, Renee, is your hubby coming? If so, I'll just... Okay, I'm going to try a different page because this, for some reason, it like writes over on the side when I scribble, but then when I go to write down, there's Brian. Then when I go to write down names, it doesn't want to work. So we have 2 here from Illinois. Okay. So I have to tell you, I am taking, so with my certification, I have to do continuing education, which I think is awesome that they make us do that, because with science-based training, there's new research, new discoveries are being made. It's science. And so I love learning new things. In fact, I only need 36 hours of continuing ed in a 3-year period. And I usually get well over 100 because I love to learn. And I recently took Kim Brophy's legs class, and she's the one that wrote Meet Your Dog that I've talked about. And she did hi, Della and Karen. She did a podcast for Pupford not too long ago, and she's amazing. So I took her class, and then I'm taking one right now that's called Forensic Aggression with Jim Crosby. He's retired law enforcement, and he does a lot of dog evaluation, testifies in court and everything. But this is the first time I've heard him speak, and I have to say it is so good, and I'm learning so much. And I do, hi Willow, I do a lot of aggression cases, and I love those. They're some of my favorite. just because it's fun to see the improvement and see the dog succeed, and also um, to see the owners like see their dogs progress and get better. So yeah, it's really good. I've been staying up till like 11 or 12. I mean, I'm an early to bed person. I'm in bed like by 9. But the past 2 nights I've been staying up till 11 and just doing more because it's online, so I can just do it. So Willow, Gertie has arthritis and I can't do much with her. Oh no. Um, did you just get that diagnosis, or has she had it for a while? That's too bad. How old is Gertie? I didn't think Gertie was that old. Anyway, we were not specifically in this class, but in another class that I'm taking like 3 classes all at the same time right now. They were talking about how the old school way of training, such as alpha roll, being dominant over your dog, things like that. That stuff is so outdated. It was we've had so many advances in science and research since then that people that are still using those methods are very outdated. Kind of like I could say the same about me when it comes to technology. I've had the same computer for probably over 10 years because I don't, once I know how to use something, I don't want to get anything else because then I have to learn how to use it. I'm terrible with technology. So it's kind of like that. I had a big box TV for the longest time, and it's because it worked. And if it works, why throw it out? It's like everybody has flat screens now, and I had a big box TV. My friend and I won it at concert, or it was a work party, but they had like a talent show and we won it. So I kept it at my house and I used that TV until it died. And other musicians would come over to my house when we'd play and they'd make fun of me because I still had a big box TV. But it's like, well, why change it if it's not broken? But it's the same kind of thing where if you're still using techniques, from back in the 50s, then it's time to get with the new program. Yeah, that's what I thought. She's young. So if she's had it, if she's only almost 4 and has arthritis, did your vet say, is that a genetic thing? Because that's really young to have arthritis. Facebook user, hello. If you want to give us your name and state, I can enter you in the drawing for a free bag of training treats. Willow. Yes, thank you, Della. Exactly. I have a lot of things that are still old. I do have I do have a good iPhone, but only because I have to be able to get my emails and stuff anywhere I am, in case people need to cancel. But other than that, I am not a technology person. So anyway, I'm thinking about getting a pity and working with that dog and letting Gertie rest. Oh, hi, Joan. Thanks for giving us your name and state. I'm going to enter you. And welcome, because I don't think you've been here before. Yeah, that's a good point. Juvenile arthritis can affect children, so it could be the same with dogs. So, Joan, my brother lives in Virginia. He just moved, so I'm not exact. He was in Sterling, and now I'm not sure what part he's in. So yes, I agree, Willow. I would give Gertie a rest. And speaking of pitties, oh my gosh, I've got to show you. So my friend is part of a pit bull rescue in Rhode Island, and they posted this dog today, and I'm obsessed. Like, I want this dog so bad, and the dog's good with dogs. It's just kind of shy, but good with dogs, good with cats. But I kind of have a house full, and I do board and train, so that even gives me more dogs. But Willow, I've got to show you a picture of this dog. I like dogs with big heads. Let's see if I can find it again. Okay, why can I not find it now? That's so weird. I'm looking back at my notifications because I posted. Okay, let me just go to. Let's see if I can find his picture. Oh, I don't know if you can see this. Can you guys see this? Sorry, it's backwards. Look at that boy. Is he not the handsomest thing ever? So he's 3 to 4 years old, really shy, but takes a little bit to warm up to people, but then good with animals. Like they even said goats, good with dogs, cats, goats, everything. So depending on what you want, I don't know that he looks kind of big to be an agility dog, but you never know. He's only 3 years old. So if you want a good looking pit bull, you might want to snag him up before I do. I don't think that's selfish at all. I think it's good to give Gertie a rest and let her rest her joints. Get her on a really good joint supplement, stuff like that. And honestly, I had to give Maddie a rest. You guys have seen Maddie. She's 11. She's got a bad lower back, bad shoulder, and she was my service dog as well as my demo dog, and she was just having such a hard time getting around. So I got Jade. Well, I rescued Jade, but I really wasn't planning on. I just fell in love with her. So then she just turned out to be a really, really good like class dog and decoy dog and neutral dog and all that stuff. So I kind of lucked out, but I don't think that's selfish at all. Oh, Della, you're still going on the list. Everybody that joins gets to go on the list. Oh, I already put you on. Yeah, you got lucky. Your very first time joining and you won. So yeah, you still get to go on. Trust me, Brian won like 2 or 3 times in a row, I think. Right, Brian? It's when I was having Jade pick the names out of a bowl. And she must have really liked Brian's name because she kept picking it. Oh, Animal Rescue League is so full. Oh, I bet. It's crazy everywhere. The dog named Rio, I would love to take him home and work with him on his problems. If Rio's good with other dogs and isn't going to stress Gertie out, so even though I really like to work with not problem dogs, but dogs that have behavioral issues, I don't really. I adopt more the ones that have medical issues, just because since I bring dogs into my home and I do board and train, my dogs have to be good with each other. They have to be, and I have a cat, so they have to be good with the cat. I can do I'll do the shy and fearful dogs like Daphne. Uh, Maddie had medical problems. Jade was just so cute and I had just lost a dog, so I took her. But yeah, I would say as long as Rio isn't going to stress Gertie out and is good with other dogs, I would say do it. Yeah. I mean, I might be the wrong person to ask though, because I've had up to 4 dogs at a time. So Willow, he is at Handsome Dan Rescue in Rhode Island, and his name is Rhino, Rhino. And if you do adopt him, I get to be his aunt and I get to come and visit because I am so obsessed with that dog. So yeah, he's handsome. Oh, Debbie from New Jersey. Welcome. Well, Gertie doesn't like Rio, but he won't be interacting with her, and I'll be the only one interacting with him. Yeah, then it would, that would work. My pen's being really weird. Peyton loves the treats. Oh, good, you got your treats. I'm so glad. Yeah, my dogs, I love them, and I had a dog come to in-home training today at my house, and I had my little cousin here because this dog doesn't like kids, so I had to find a kid to use, in training. And this dog is just crazy about treats. And so when we were doing the classical conditioning with creating a positive emotional response about kids, I use the Pupford salmon treats. And so every time this dog would look at Rendon, who's my cousin, would look and not bark, I would click and treat. Then I also gave Rendon a handful of treats, and I had him tossing treats to the dog as well. And after 10, 15 minutes, we got close enough to where Rendon held out his hand with a salmon treat, and the dog came and took the treat out of his hand. So that's, I mean, you can't ask for anything better than that. And then we went in the backyard and let her dog just run around with my dogs, and my cousin was back there running around with the dogs, and the dog did great with him. So yeah, the treats are amazing. I love them. Let's see. My welcome package from my school gave me even more treats, another Kong and clicker. Oh, yes. But you know what? You can never have too many treats or Kongs or clickers. I am one of those that, I get a lot of clickers with different things. And then I have some Pupford clickers. I have my box clickers that I give to clients. And then I bought this that's a clicker, but it's also a whistle. The only reason I got this was so that if I go hiking and Jade gets out of sight, I can whistle for her to come back. But lately I've just been keeping her on leash because we have bobcats, bears, moose, and it's just not worth it. So I take her on a 20-foot line. She can still run and sniff and explore and do whatever she wants, but she can't get too far away. So, oh, he's too far. Hey, you know what? The girls, when I got on there, they're like, we'll bring him to you. We'll road trip. And I'm like, that's a long road trip from Rhode Island to Utah. But hey, if you're willing to bring him to me, I'm seriously considering it. Because he is, he's gorgeous. All of my pitties have been fence jumpers. And I live in rural Utah, so I can't have a dog that's going to jump the fence and go kill the neighbor's sheep. So I have to make sure that, he's not going to try to escape. So either when they're that big, either they're very athletic or they're so heavy that they couldn't jump over. So I'm hoping it's the second. Okay, so what questions do you guys have for me tonight? Especially some of you newer ones. Della, you have joined us again from a couple of weeks ago. And Joan, if you guys have any training questions at all, feel free to ask them, and I'm happy to answer them. I'm going to grab some water. I just had to put a book behind my back because I've been sitting for too long and my back is killing me. I have this really huge book with all of because I do essential oils, and it's so big, but it's a perfect book to like put behind your back when you're sitting. Oh, Willow, your phone died. Okay, so if you don't have questions, let me think of another. What else could we talk about? Let me see who I've seen this week and see if there's anything interesting. That I can share with you. Okay, so we did the child thing with Rendon. Yeah, nothing really. I'm working with two. Oh, here's one. Peyton turned 19 months on Monday. Her recall is finally starting to get better. That's awesome. That's amazing. Good job, because recall's hard. I'm still working with Jade. Like when we get home from something and I let her out of the car and I go to the door, she has to sniff the perimeter and sniff the grass. And if I don't say come with her because I know she's not going to do it. So I'll usually whistle or say, hey, over here, let's go, hurry up. And she just takes her time. And today I had actually, so since my, Nazareth, yes, I do have a comment for you. Oh, and if you want to tell me where you're from, I'll enter you in the drawing. Since my cousin helped me today, I took him to lunch. He's 12. So he's like my third cousin. So anyway, I took him to lunch, and whenever I go out to lunch, I always get a side of bacon in a box for the dogs. And a lot of times that's what I call for, like, I have an emergency recall, and that's the only time they get bacon. So when she was out, I took a chance, crossed my fingers, and I said her emergency recall word because I had bacon with me, and she turned and ran in. So yeah, she got a big piece of bacon because she did it, and I was so happy for her. Okay, I have an overexcited dog that jumps up when we walk. So is that like jumps up on you or jumps up like on other people? If the dog's just jumping because he's excited, one thing you can do is drop treats on the ground, and that kind of redirects the dog's nose to the ground, and they're picking up treats. And at first I'll do like every step, and this is how I teach leash walking as well. So I'll do every step, and then I'll do maybe every 2 steps, every 3 steps, every 5, every 8. So I start to space it out. But then the dog learns to stay like relatively by my side. I don't really like to do a formal heel when I'm out walking because I want a dog to be able to sniff and get some enrichment and all of that stuff. So, but you could drop treats along the way, and that will redirect your dog's nose down to the ground instead of like jumping up and down. So one of my dogs does that only at feeding time. So when I get the dog bowls, or with her snuffle mat, she's the last one to eat because she eats the fastest. So I will feed Willie, Jade, or Maddie, And then the whole time I'm feeding and going around to each spot, she's like a pogo stick. She's just jumping, jumping, jumping. So one thing I've started to do is when she's jumping, I stop. And then when she stops and sits, then I start walking again. So the calmer she is and the more she doesn't jump, the faster she gets to eat. If she's jumping, then I just stop walking. And then I wait for her to calm down, and then we start going again. So you could try the same thing and do that, or do the treat drop. Another one that I do, and I don't think I have one in the house. I think they're on the car. You could use a target stick, which is just, it's about this big and it extends, and you can put peanut butter on the end, and you can use it for targeting. So the touch, you can put it right in front of your dog's nose and let him lick the peanut butter, but put it down where you want the dog to go so that the dog's not jumping up. So they'll follow the target instead. So you could try either of those. Yes. So Nazareth, you are so true. Every single one. I take that back. My first 3 pit bulls never jumped the fence. Never. But let's see, 1, 2, 3. My 3 latest ones can jump the fence. It's a 5-foot fence. And when I first got Maddie, I honestly, she's 60 pounds. I honestly didn't think she could jump over it, but she did. And then Daphne could jump. Jade can jump. And so I know that pitties are escape artists, and they do tend to do that. But like my first 3 were so good, I never thought that they could do that. Maddie's older now and has joint issues, so she doesn't jump. Jade does, so I have to watch her all the time. If I've been actually getting outside, and when I'm home, I go out with them so I can monitor her. So I'll just take my work outside and do it in the sun while they're running around. But if I come inside, she has to come in with me because I just don't trust her outside by herself. And I don't want to chain her up. I don't want to put a tether on her because then she doesn't run around and play. But I live on a highway, and she's been in the middle of the road a couple times, and it's just not worth it to me for her to get hit. So Willow, I will ask. I will ask if they will bring the dog down to you. Because yeah, they might. I mean, they were willing to drive him to Utah, although they could have been kidding. They could have been kidding. That's like, oh, we'll bring him to you. Let's do a road trip. They could have totally been kidding. But I will certainly ask. You can also see him. Go to Facebook. Go to Handsome Dan's Rescue on Facebook and scroll down, and you'll be able to see him. And you can ask too. Okay, Nazareth, Portland, Oregon. You are you're very lucky, Nazareth, because you guys have a really good veterinary behaviorist in Portland, Dr. Pockle, and I think it's animal behavior consultants. They're the behavior consultants that I refer to all the time. So if I have a client that I think needs medication or more help than what I can do, that's where I refer them. We don't have one in Utah. And I think some of my other friends refer to ones either in Colorado, Missouri, or Portland. The reason that I refer to the Portland group is because I've been at a conference where they've spoken, so I've just kind of gotten to know them a little bit, and I think they're amazing. So yes, I really wish we had one here, but you guys have one there. Let's see. I'm just trying to piece these back together. Oh, yeah. So you have to use steak. Yeah, that's hard. My pitties love any kind of food at any time of day. I'm really lucky that they're so food motivated. Okay, so going back to the jumping dog, if he's jumping on you, I would just stop, turn your back, ask him to sit, and then when he sits, start going again. So that he doesn't get rewarded for the jumping. So kind of an example, when I come home and if I haven't taken Jade with me, now that it's summer and it's going to be hot, I can't take her because I'm not going to leave her in the car. So when I get home and let her out of her crate, she is like a pogo stick. She just wants to jump and see me. And I'm happy to see her too, but I don't want her to get into this habit of jumping. So I will ask her for a sit. I'll say, "Oh, Jade, can you sit?" And then when she sits, then I give her lots of love and stuff. And sometimes I have to tell her several times because once I start petting her, she'll start jumping again. So then I just stop petting. "Oh, can you sit again?" And then I pet her for sitting. So I think if you like stop walking, ask your dog to sit, good job, and then start going again. And you might have to do it several times. But then your dog will start to get it. And I also think if you drop the treats, it's going to refocus your dog's nose to the ground, have them follow the treats, and then start to space the treats out. Della, I'm walking Scooby around the half acre daily, hoping she will learn not to follow her beagle nose at the unfenced boundaries. She's a boxer beagle. Yeah. I mean, on one hand, beagles are scent dogs. So if she catches a scent that's not in your half acre, there's a good chance that she's going to go for it. And, and want to follow her nose. I do have a handout, I think. It's not one that I did, but one of my friends sent me a handout on boundary training with how to do it without using an electric fence. And so I had her send it to me because I'm going to do it with Jade, but I haven't started. So if you want to email me, Della, here I'm going to put it in the chat. And if I have it, I will send it to you. But that doesn't if you have a dog with a really high prey drive and then, sees a rabbit and wants to go after it, you can work on that by teaching a really, really good leave it and a really good recall. And it has to be highly reinforced a lot for the dog to do it. But yeah, you can work on that, and you can try the boundary training. Nazareth, she's a psychotic princess. Yeah, I have I've had dogs like that. Willow, when it comes to treats that have an expiration date, would I have to toss them? I would say you can probably still use them. I've had treats that I've found in my car or found somewhere that are probably expired. As long as they're not like soft, that were soft and now they're really hard. If that's the case, I will throw them away. But otherwise, I still use them. I just kind of smell them, and if it smells like really rancid, then I throw them out. But if they smell like normal dog treats, I'll probably still use them. Hello, Nicole. Yeah, Nazareth, that's a good. She hasn't tried it yet. But the problem is where I live in a rural area, so people are walking their sheep for the fair. My neighbors have 2 dogs that my dogs like, and If there's something over the fence that my dogs want to go see, they'll just hop the fence. So if I absolutely can't pay attention to Jade and she wants to go out, I will put her on a long line. And I have it so that she can reach pretty much everywhere in the yard. She just can't get to the fence. I don't even give her enough because I don't want her to be able to jump with it on and then hang herself. So I made it just long enough so that she can't get all the way to the fence. I don't do that very often though, just because I know she doesn't like it. But if she wouldn't jump the fence, she wouldn't have to have that on. Okay, Nicole, I entered you in the drawing. Oh, you live in a tiny house village. Oh, tiny house village. Oh, how fun. That's so cool. I didn't even know there was such a thing. But yeah, I guess there would. Um let's see. Anita, I finally have a little bit ringing outside bell to come in. Yay. That's good. But it's been much more challenging to reteach a behavior rather than to do it in the first place. Yeah, sometimes it can be harder to reteach it, just because it's not like whenever you're teaching a new behavior, it's kind of like, oh, we're doing something new and I get treats. But then when you teach it, then they have this period of time where they haven't done it and haven't gotten reinforced for it. So I can see where it would be harder. Also, the same example where Jade's had 2 years now of jumping up on people and people like petting her and loving on her and things like that. So it's actually been harder to reteach her how to sit for greetings, because every once in a while, people will say, oh, I don't mind. She's so cute. I don't care. And I'm like, but I care. But by the time we have that conversation, she's jumped up and gotten pet for it. So yeah, it can be more challenging to reteach something. Oh, so let's see. Nazareth, are you talking about the veterinary behaviorist, or what name are you talking about? Inya, our beagle, was all about food. Naz isn't so easy in this aspect. Yeah, it is. It's so much easier to train when dogs are food motivated, because most people always have food and it's just easy and quick to get. I have worked with dogs that aren't food motivated, and then we have to find something else that motivates them. And I'll even do like so in my my adult one class, there is a dog who loves to sniff. Like, better than anything in the world, she likes to go sniff stuff. So we use that as a reinforcer. So we ask her to sit and wait, and then, okay, go sniff. And that's her reward, is to go sniff. I used to walk a dog in the next town over, and this dog was like obsessed with snowbanks because dogs have peed on it, and the snow plows pick up whatever's on the road. And so his big thing was he loved to go sniff snowbanks. He was 110 pounds and he was a puller. So with him, I did the drop the treat. And then I got to where I would just intermittently drop him. And then when he would walk really nice without pulling for like 200 feet, 300 feet, then I'd say, okay, go sniff. And then I would give him permission to go and sniff the snowbanks. So that was his reward, instead of, he liked food and snowbanks. So I used both. But yeah, sometimes you can use a toy. My German Shepherd he had a high prey drive. He was a toy fanatic and loved especially a Kong. So he would take that over treats any day. So, whoops. Hey, Jay, can you pick that up? Oh, not you. Not you, Willie. Sorry. I was going to have Jade pick up my pen because I dropped it and Willie skirted it over there and Willie would eat it. Okay, we dropped the book too. This is my huge book that's behind my back. Okay. Now I forgot what I was talking about. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So sometimes you have to just experiment and see what really motivates your dog. Is it sniffing? Is it, you can throw treats and say, go hunt and let them forage. Sometimes when they have to use their nose and work for food, they like it more, ironically, but it's true. So you can do stuff like that. Or use a toy like a ball or a Kong or anything like that. So Willow, Gertie has the same temperament as Rhino. Yeah, I had a dog like that too that was really shy and timid. She's actually the reason I got into training. I've trained Enya and Naz with a lot of treat dropping. It is. It's I do that with Jade sometimes because she just wants to sniff, and I do let her sniff. Like if we're just on a fun walk, I have a long line and I let her sniff and explore because it's really enriching for them. But then if I need her to come in close, like if we're passing another dog or we're crossing a street, then I will drop treats to keep her in close and kind of focused, and then I'll release her again to go sniff. Let's see. Willow, I'm starting to fall for his big head. I know, that's what did it for me. I'm like, oh my gosh. Hi, Travis. Yeah, as soon as I saw his big head, I'm like, oh, I'm in trouble. Okay. So Travis, how's everything going with you? Oh, Nicole, I just got home. I turned you on for the drive home, but couldn't talk. So Nazareth, this is where, the name of the veterinary behaviorist is Animal Behavior Consulting, in Portland. And I don't know if Dr. Pockle is taking new clients because he does a lot of lectures and travels all over. So he might not be taking, but his team does. So we've been working with a few other of his teammates. So yeah, and one thing that you want to do too, Nazareth, with your puppy, especially with pitties, is make sure that you socialize with people, kids, other animals. Like all of my pit bulls are great with my cat. So it makes it really nice, but yeah, you want to make sure that your dog's really well socialized. Let's see, Travis, I noticed that Mickey's stress level went way down out and about, even if her home life is stressed. Oh, so Mickey is less stressful when she's out and about than when she's home. A lot of that could be that if there's stress in the home, and I mean, what home doesn't have stress? They it does affect your dog. But when they're out and about and they're walking, they're sniffing, they're gathering information, They're getting all that enrichment. And when dogs are doing nose work and using their nose, it engages their brain, and it actually releases the endorphins in the brain, that they're like the feel good, happy endorphins. So whenever that happens, then the stress level goes lower. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense as to why a dog would be more stressed at home than, out and about. Now I had a dog, my Michael Vick dog actually finally got to the point where she was really calm at home, and she had her safe place, which was upstairs on the bed. And when we would go, like, she hated the car, absolutely hated the car. And we did have to do some events, and, we're on the news a few times, things like that. And she was really nervous in public. And I would take my other dog to go with her, and that would help her get some more confidence. But she was a lot more fearful out and about. And then when she would get home, she was so happy. She would do her little happy dance, is what I called it. But yeah, if Mickey's out and being able to sniff and explore and have fun like that, that would totally make sense, that her stress level would go down. Yep, Nazareth, that's good. Use a sniff reward for don't pull. Yep, that's exactly what I would do. Oh, Anita, I have a pillow back here. It doesn't work. I bought a back pillow from Amazon, and it's on here, and my back doesn't even reach it. So I think I need to get a new chair for one thing. So for now, it's the book. Okay, let's see. Nicole. Oh, before I get to Nicole, so another one that I do for a dog that pulls is I don't ever let a dog pull me to another person or a tree or whatever. So we use what's called the Premack principle, which basically is a dog is more willing to do something they don't really want to do if it leads to something they really do want to do. So if they start to pull, I'll stop and I'll say, oh, hey, we're not going to pull. And I'll bring him back and ask him to wait. Like, can you sit and wait? Okay, now you can go sniff. So the dog really doesn't want to wait, but if they know that it's going to lead to getting to do something fun, they will. A good example, Nazareth brought up squirrels. So I had not my dog, but I was working with a dog that was just obsessed with squirrels and birds up in the trees. And I knew he was never going to catch them and hurt them. And so what I would do is he would like run over to the tree and start trying to pull and bark. So I would bring him back, have him sit and wait. And then I would say, okay, go check it out. And then I would allow him online to run up to the tree and bark at the chipmunks and the birds and squirrels, whatever. So he knew, okay, if I come and wait, I really don't want to, but if I do, then she's going to let me go bark. And I'd let him bark for like 30 seconds. And then I'd say, okay, let's go. And then we would just start going again. So yeah, you can use all kinds of things as a reinforcer. You can use digging. So pit bulls also dig because they used to be used for varmint control. I see Jade a lot digging in the backyard. Now I let her dig in one spot. But if she starts to dig in another spot, I just redirect her and say, hey, don't dig right there, please. Here's your dig spot. And then she can dig in another spot. You can also use like a kiddie pool and fill it with plastic balls and put treats and toys in there for the dogs to dig through. You can also make kind of like a sandbox area where your dog is allowed to dig. So things like that. And yeah, Nazareth, my dogs are always, 98% of the time they are on a leash, even if we're up in the mountains hiking, just because of all the wildlife and everything. So I don't actually tie them to me, but I do have them on a lead. Sometimes I'll use a waist leash, but yeah. Nicole, Moose is doing a little better eating. Occasionally he throws a little fit, but usually calms down now and eats during the 15 minutes. Good. That's awesome. I give a little longer if he has started eating because sometimes it takes a bit to get out of the wobbler. Oh yeah, if you're putting it in a wobbler, as long as he's actively doing it and getting the food out, you can let it go longer. It's just that you leave it out, and if he doesn't do anything with it for 15 minutes, then you pick it up. But yeah, it's not like, even if I'm halfway through, in 15 minutes, it's going to go away. I don't do that. But once a dog has finally started to eat, then I let him eat till they leave it. So that's awesome. I'm glad you're doing the Kong wobbler. And I used that yesterday with a pit bull that I'm working with, and we set up the Kong wobbler for some enrichment and something to do when strangers come over, and he loved it. Like, he was just obsessed with it. So that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Travis, she still tense up whenever dogs go by our gate. Oh yeah. So that's true, and that could be causing stress. Her fur is static with hackles up and barking. Whenever I try to bring her inside, she whines and lets out a little bark. Is this behavior adding to her stress? Yes, it definitely could. What you could try, I just did this actually with the same pit bull yesterday, because this dog also barks at the fence because there's a dog on the other side of the fence. And if you think about a dog like barking at something else, and then if we try to pull them back, we're like kind of restraining them, and it's adding in a frustration factor. So what we want to do, because we don't want them to continue like barking, but what I like to do is redirect. So what we did with this dog is the dog would go up to the fence and start, sniffing under the fence to see if the dog was there. And as soon as the dog barked once, I would say, go hunt. But I would throw the treats behind the dog back into the yard area to get the dog to turn and go into the yard and start to search for treats. So it was much more fun for the dog than barking at another dog through the fence, because I had salmon treats. And so the dog chose to turn 180 degrees and start to search for treats. So to turn that into a less stressful thing, it's like when a dog walks by the fence or the gate, I'm going to throw treats into the grass and I'm going to let you hunt. And at first I would use something like hot dogs or chicken or something that is really high value, smelly, because it's going to have to get her attention, and be more rewarding than barking, if that makes sense. So that's what I would do, just so we're not like bringing her and making her come back in. If you want to do that, you can, say like, hey, let's go hunt. And then you could have her hunt in the house. So then it's like, oh yeah, this is really fun. So I don't want to bark at you anymore because I'm going to run in the house and play go hunt. So you could do it in a snuffle mat. You could do it on a rug. But again, you could do it in the lawn. My dogs love to bark at my neighbor when he's mowing the lawn. So sometimes I will go out, and since there's 3 dogs, I'll take 2 big hands of treats, chuck them in the lawn and say, hey guys, it's hunt time. And they leave the fence and they will hunt for treats. They don't even care about the lawnmower now, because each one is like, oh, if I go to bark out the lawnmower, then one of my siblings is going to get my treats. So they hunt for treats. And then sometimes I'll bring them inside, but for the most part, to them, it's a game because they like the neighbor. So yeah, Travis, I would say it is contributing to stress. And so I would just give the dog something different to do and maybe redirect her attention into something that's more fun and fulfilling and enriching. Iris, any tips on getting them to stay? Yes. Let's see. So I start with, I'll ask a dog to sit and I'll say stay, count to 5, click and treat. And then I'll take another treat and throw it and say free and let the dog let go. Because I like to have a release word with stay. So the trick is you have to start really small. I start with 5 seconds. If a dog can't stay for 5 seconds, do 3. Then when the dog can do 5 seconds, at least 5 times in a row, then I will tell the dog to stay and I'll take a small step backwards and then go back to the dog, click and treat and release. So if I'm adding duration, I don't also add distance. So when I say stay and I take a step back, I might only do 3 seconds and then I'll go back and click and treat and then release. So then you just keep adding duration and keep adding distance. If your dog breaks like 3 times in a row, then it's too hard and you need to make it easier. So by either decreasing distance or decreasing duration. So again, like sometimes I'll take a big step back and a dog will break. So then I just take just a slight step back, maybe 1 to 2 seconds, and then go back and click and treat. So you just split it into little tiny micro criteria and then build from there. And then you can start adding in distractions and then you practice in different places. But yeah, Iris, if you want to email me, I'm putting my email address in here right now. If you want to email me and ask me for my handout for stay, I'm happy to email it to you. And it'll just go through step by step what to do. Travis, the flight and fight cue is challenging. Yeah, she likes to go outside and I can't always be there. That's true. If she's outside and you're not there to train, then it's really hard. Like I also will use like an emergency. Travis, did I send you the flight cue handout? It's kind of like I use a word like, so with my what am I trying to say? My emergency recall. I have a word that means if you come, I give you bacon. And it's like an emergency recall. And the dogs will be doing whatever in the house or they'll be outside and I'll yell, my word is the German word for now. And so I'll say now, and they come running in because they know they're getting bacon. And so that's kind of like an emergency recall. I also have a word like, party time or retreat or whatever. And that means turn 180 degrees and have the best party and treats ever. So that's more like a really strong leave it. Or I like to use that when they're going over threshold. And for that, they get gizzard. So every time, I say retreat, they're like, oh, yep, we're going this way. But again, yeah, it's hard when you're not out there. The other thing too is every time your dog barks at the gate when dogs go by, remember that that's reinforcing for your dog. Because when she barks, in her mind, she's making the other dogs go away or the people go away or whatever. So it's really reinforcing for her, almost like Jade, who constantly jumps on people because it keeps getting reinforced. Every time she jumps, she gets petting and she gets attention and things like that. So it's the same thing. So it's just kind of something to keep in mind, which is why if I am busy and I don't have time to play the go hunt game with the dogs, then I just bring them in when my neighbor's out mowing the lawn. I just bring them in so they can't practice it. But yeah, it is challenging and it takes a lot of time. We want to do it over and over so it gets in their muscle memory. Willow, I just might stick with Rio. Yeah, I totally get that. Nazareth, she's no longer trying to eat them. The cat. Did you notice? I have a cat behind me. My cat has now learned to use the dog door. And I live on a highway, so she doesn't get to go outside unless she's on a harness and a leash. So when the dog door is open for the dogs to go out, she goes in a condo. And then when she comes out, I either put the dogs out or they're in, but the dog door's closed. So we are constantly rotating dogs. Travis, I just mean via my observation that she doesn't display growling. Yeah, I mean that's totally true. And also it could be like when she's home, she's anticipating a dog walking by. So it can be reactivity can be like something perceived. And is like it's not happening right now, but it could like oh, a dog might walk by today, or is a dog going to walk by today? So it's somebody who has a lot of anxiety, say about earthquakes. It's like, are we going to have an earthquake today, or are we going to have one tomorrow? And people that have that chronic anxiety, they're always worrying about something like, is it going to happen? When's it going to happen? And so that's what your dog could be doing, is having that anxiety about when's a dog going to walk by? Is a dog going to walk by? So she's always on this heightened sense. Then when she gets out of the gate, it's like, I don't have to worry about the yard or the gate because I'm not even there. So then she gets to just be a dog and sniff and explore and do all the fun things that she likes to do. So that totally makes sense. That she would be more calm. If you have time, or like when you do have time to train, I would just continue to work on the flight cue, and then you can always try things like, if you can't watch her, then she's going to come in the house. If you work during the day, have a dog walker come and let her out, or take her for a walk or something. There are options and things that we can do. It just depends on like what resources you have at your disposal. Let's see. Anita, yes, I have. I do need to do that. Just return the ones that don't work. I use a squirrel for distraction for reactivity. That's great. That's good. Willow, what brush do you recommend using for double-coated dog? I used to have a double-coated dog, and there was a certain kind of, it was almost like the comb. It looks like a really small rake. I think that's the one that they had me use for double coat. I haven't had a double coated dog in a while, which is so nice to not have to brush out that undercoat. But yeah, I think it has a name. I think you can use a Furminator too. So I think a Furminator works really well for double coated dogs, and it gets all that hair out. Oh, Nazareth, you're welcome. Hope you can join us again. Willow, Rio has a high prey drive for cats. Is there a way to keep them from trying to hunt them every time I go for a walk? It can be really hard if they have a really, really high drive. Yes, you can. What you have to do is give them something else to do. So, like dropping high value treats. If that's all that's in your dog's mind is, okay, where are the cats? I got to chase the cats. Where are the cats? Then that's where his mind is going to be. But say you have him target a stick for peanut butter, or you drop treats along the way, or when I'm walking a reactive dog, a lot of times I will, as soon as the dog sees another dog, I'll take treats and throw them in the grass and say, go hunt. Or I'll throw it in the snow if it's winter, or gravel or whatever, and redirect the dog to do some nose work and do something like that instead of getting super hyper focused. My search and rescue dog was actually had a really high prey drive, but I trained him with a really good leave it, and he could lay down and watch a cat go by and he would not leave. But then I would call him to me and play with him with a Kong, because remember, with him, Kong is the best thing ever. So if he would leave something, then I would give him something else to do. You could also try to use like a flirt pole or something, so that your dog gets that chase, hunt, bite, grab. They get all of that out of their system, and they get to do that sequence. And then it kind of helps to have an outlet for that, so that they don't necessarily think they have to do it on every single walk, if that makes sense. Let's see, Nicole, I'm working on cue transfers to have my cues in a different language. Oh, yes, that's right. I remember you saying you were going to do Klingon. Only nerds will be able to talk to my dogs. That's awesome. And I can't remember. I'd have to look it up. I can't remember if you say, I think you say the old cue and then the new cue. So like if I was transferring with Jade, I would say sit, seats, and then mark and treat. And then eventually drop the new one or the old one. Travis. Okay, let me turn my fan on really quick because it's getting hot in here. Okay. Travis. I've been hearing horrible things about kibble, which I feed to Mickey. I heard that kibble is like fast food. So if I eat fast food, I don't feel good. So I can imagine what Mickey feels, and it makes me feel like I'm in a rock and a hard place. Yeah, well, I feed my dogs kibble, but I put frozen vegetables in it as well, like broccoli, carrots. I use the food toppers from Pupford. I believe in even changing brands. So sometimes I will give my dogs a variety of flavors. So like I'll use the same brand, but 1 month I'll do salmon, 1 month I'll do chicken, 1 month I'll do something else. And then every once in a while I'll change the whole brand. And because I've done that, and I use the same 2 or 3 brands that I switch off with, so my dogs don't ever get diarrhea. When I first switch them, then I'll mix it and do all of that stuff. But yeah, I like to give them a variety so that they don't get tired of it. And also it depends on the brand. Because some are made with a lot of fillers, and then your dog's not getting the nutrients that they need. So you want to make sure that the very first ingredient is a protein, but not, you don't want it to say chicken meal, because usually chicken meal just means that it's all the extra parts of a chicken, like the beak and the feet and stuff like that. So I can tell you that when I worked at the vet clinic, every time we had a dog come in with gastrointestinal problems, they were all on the same food. And I can't say which one because they may have changed it and I don't want to get in trouble for, bad mouthing a dog food company. But it was always the same one. As soon as we'd say, what are you feeding your dog? It was that same brand. So just read labels. A really good resource for learning about foods is called Whole Dog Journal. And they have, you can get on their free email list, and they always have articles about food. They will even list the top 10 foods, what you need to know about food. Oh, Nicole, I was backwards. New and then old. Yeah. I knew I was going to have to look it up. So, Travis, check out Whole Dog Journal, because there's a lot of really good information on there about food. And then there's some, like they have reports and things that you can buy. They're not really expensive, but they give you a lot of information. They do have an actual journal that you can purchase that comes to your house. And I did that for a while too, but then I realized that I didn't have time to read that much. So I still get the online one and I look at that. So that's a really, really good resource when it comes to food. So they know much more than I do. Let me go back and make sure that I didn't skip any. Let's see. We'll do a drawing at 7:30. And then if people want to stay on, they can. Yeah. I mean, and Travis, food's one of those things where I get frustrated. Like I don't, there's so much to learn. I was feeding my dogs pottery for a while. And I love that because if you look at the ingredients, it is all protein and freeze-dried fruits and vegetables. So there's no fillers, no chemicals, nothing like that. The only reason I stopped is because it's kind of pricey and I have 3 big dogs to feed. So it would last me like 80 pounds would last me maybe a week and a half. And so I would be paying probably $250 to $300 a month on dog food. And I just couldn't do it. So I have a friend that's a trainer that does a raw diet. So I just, like I said, I just do the kibble, but I'll add the toppers and then I will put in frozen, sometimes fruit. So like I have frozen fruit up in the freezer to use with smoothies. I'll put that in their food. I always put broccoli, carrots, cauliflower, green beans, all that kind of stuff I'll put in their food, especially Maddie, because Maddie's was on prednisone, but she still always thinks she's hungry. So I would do that too. But check out Whole Dog Journal. That they're a really, really good resource for food. Let's see, Willow. When dogs get older and have arthritis, do they tend to get crankier? Yeah, they can, because they don't feel good. So think about when humans get a migraine or a headache, which I usually have one or the other almost every day. But if I have a really bad migraine, I'm more testy with people and more impatient. And so think about like, if if you have a headache or if you're not feeling well. And definitely that's why when we go see clients for the first time, we always ask, when's the last time that you went to the vet? Because if there is an underlying medical problem, then we got to fix that first before we tackle the behavior part of it. I know that, Maddie has some arthritis in her back, and she also has something wrong with her front shoulder, which she's had since I got her. And she'll limp off and on. But yeah, definitely sometimes she'll just avoid the other dogs or just get a little bit more grumpy. She doesn't ever like attack them or anything. For the most part, she'll just get up and go lay somewhere away from them. But yes, anything that causes a dog pain or discomfort, it can make them more cranky. Just like people. I have not heard that about the Furminator with German Shepherds. Oh, yeah. Take Travis's advice. That's great advice. Let's see. How would you teach heel to a small dog? Hey, Julie. Just in time. I'm just getting ready to do drawing. Okay, I lost my pen again. There it is. So with a small dog, I will do the drop treat method. Because then I don't have to reach down, or I'll use a target stick. You could probably even make your own target stick, but it's just a long stick with a little ball on the end, and then I dip the ball in peanut butter, and that way I don't have to bend over, and I can just put it right in front of the dog's nose and just have them follow it. I do let them lick the peanut butter, but I just keep it right there, and they follow it and learn to kind of stay by me. So that's what I do. So yeah, you can teach any dog to heel. Just sometimes you have to be creative on how you get the treats down to them. And then instead of bending over and giving the dog a treat, just drop it on the ground. I like to do that anyway because it puts the dog's nose to the ground, gets them sniffing, things like that. Julie Kaplan, New York. Yeah, I mean, I would be, I kind of stress out about it too because I want to give my dogs the very best, but I have 3 dogs to feed. And so I can't do like a raw diet. Plus you guys, I don't cook. I do not like to cook. I don't even cook for myself. And I know with a raw diet, you have to prepare a bunch of stuff, and it's not that I wouldn't do it for my dogs, but that's all I would be doing. So I feed a medium dog food, but then again, I add stuff in it. So, and then, my dogs get turbo tendons, bully sticks, the yak chews. And I will say that I only give them the ones that come from Pupford, just because I trust their product and I trust that they're going to be good quality. I don't make any money for selling them to you guys, but that's just my own, because, I've been to their facility. I've met with them. I've done like you've probably seen on Pupford. I've done some training videos with them, and just knowing how much they care about their product and what they're giving out, I totally trust it. So I did ask them one time, like, hey, how come you guys don't sell dog food? And I guess it's a lot harder because you have to get FDA approved and things like that. So it's harder to do dog food. Doesn't mean that they won't do it in the future. They might. But it's harder to do dog food than treats. But yeah, I love their turbo tendons and bully sticks and yak chews. And then Travis, you also want to be careful not to do grain free, or if you do grain free, make sure you get stuff that has the tarmine in it, so that, because a grain free now has been linked to heart conditions in dogs. And my friend's dog actually died at the age of, I think, like 4 or 5 from this enlarged heart condition that was from grain free food. Let's see. Pepper was on prednisone, our daughter's dog, Joey. Oh, Joey will be 2 this month. Awesome. Happy birthday to Joey. Is this Cindy? Is that you? It just came through as Facebook user. So tell me your name if it is Cindy. And I'll add you. Let's see, Willow. I hate the fact that she's only 3 and has arthritis. Yeah. I was just going to suggest the same thing that Travis just said. Cosequin Max Strength. I bought some stuff. Oh, which one is it? I just ran out and I need to order more. Oh, Daxaquin. Here, let me look it up on Amazon really quick. There's one that my vet recommended, and I actually got it and was giving it to Maddie, and it was seriously a game changer for her. I think it was Dasaquin. Oops. I don't know how to spell it. Oh, yes. So it's Dasaquin Advanced. You have to get the advanced. I know there's a light that's shining on here. I'm trying to get it. You can see, kind of. Just go to Amazon. It's spendy, like it's not cheap. But you want to make sure that you get the Dasaquin Advanced. But this was actually cheaper than well, no, it's about the same. Yeah, it's pricey, but it's worth it because Maddie's been doing a lot better. We also do acupuncture with her. I do the Dasaquin, and she's on some other meds, but it's helped her a lot. Julie, my vet is recommending me to go to a behaviorist for Dakota. Also suggested that we can give her dog food that can keep her calm. Apparently, she has anxiety. Interesting. So I was talking about veterinary behaviorist in Oregon, and they can do all virtual with you. They can work with your vet on medication. So animal behavior consultants out of Portland, Oregon. If you go back up through the comments, I actually list it. That's who I send all my clients to. They're booked out like 4 months. So I would get on their list. There's also one in, is it Missouri? And I think there are some in Colorado at the Colorado State. Let me look up and see, because his name just escaped me. Let me just type in Missouri vet behaviorist. I want to say it starts with an M. But nothing's coming up. Let me see if he's affiliated with the University of Missouri. Pretty sure it was Missouri. If you want to email me, I know that I have his name somewhere in my notes because I've taken a class from him before. So if you email me, I will be able to go back and give you his name. I'm pretty sure he's in Missouri. But then I also like Dr. Pockle out of Oregon. So yeah. So Julie, what was it that prompted the vet to say that? I'm just interested. And then there are some. So what did she recommend as far as dog food that can keep her calm? I know sometimes switching up the protein can sometimes help with different behavioral things. But I don't know how just giving her dog food is going to keep her calm. Unless she has a secret that I don't know about. Willow, I'd like to hand feed her and never follow my hand, but that's going to cause back problems down the road. Yes, and then you're going to end up like me with a bad back. Renee, same here. Yep, even if I'm at the grocery store and Jade's usually with me with her vest on, and if we go down, I have to get cat food there, and Jade will like smell all this stuff, and it's like, sorry, you can have something when you get home. Because I just won't give her anything. And if you look at a lot of the labels in just the grocery store, you'll read made in Uruguay, made in Austria, something like that. And you always want to make sure, if you live in the US, you want to make sure that your dog is getting only stuff in the US. Because a veterinarian told me that when you start buying things like that out of the country, it's not monitored by the FDA. They put different chemicals and stuff in it that can really be harmful to your dog. So you want to be careful with that. That's why I only go with Pupford stuff, and then I know I'm safe. Willow, I've been giving my dog those chew treats from Pupford, and they cause trauma to my dog's gums because of how hard they are. Yeah, you mean like the yak chews and the turbo tendons? I would just do the treats then. Like you could just do the treats or do a lick mat. My dogs love the lick mats too, and I use either spray cheese or peanut butter. Hi, Willie. Don't chew my cords, please. Or I buy those baby food packet things that you just squeeze, and then I squeeze that on and do it. Willow, or get a second dog food if you can fit it in your budget to help. Yeah, I do that as well. So I switch off. Sometimes I'll do pottery, and then I'll do the stuff I get from Chewy, and then switch them out. So let's see. What is the best calming? I'm not sure what you mean by calming. Oh, vitamins for a dog? I am not sure. I know they're like, if you go to the vet, a lot of vet offices will have calming supplements. I'm not an expert on supplements, so I would ask your veterinarian. I know that there are things called like Calmacalm. You can use CBD. Now I've had a lot of CBD treats that have not worked, and then I just got one from an apothecary that we have in town, and it was $25 for a bag, but they work much better. So You could try some CBD chews. Nicole, my vet recommended Dasaquin Advanced also. Tug won't eat it unless I grind it up and mix with canned food. Yeah, I mean, if you have to, then you do what you have to do. Julie, there are some in New York City. Oh, that's good. If you find a good one in New York, let me know. It's too far. Most will do virtual. And in fact, since it's mostly behavior stuff that we're talking about and getting on meds, like the dogs in Utah that I have going to a veterinary behaviorist, it's all virtual, and they'll still send you a training plan. Then they can also find a trainer near you to help you carry out the training plan if needed. So they'll write up a whole training plan, do that, and then they usually have really good reputations with good trainers that can then help you. Okay, so let's do a drawing, and then I'll go answer the other questions that we have. Oh, how's Willie doing? He's doing great. He's running now. He's running. It is the coolest thing. If you guys follow me on Facebook, I just posted a picture of him running, chasing my cousin. But yeah, he's running now, and he doesn't need diapers anymore. He's learned how to use the dog door. If I have it closed when the cat's out, sometimes he'll have an accident, but it's just because he can't hold it. But yeah, he's amazing. Okay. Let me mix these all up. And tonight's winner is Anita Solomon from Florida. So congratulations, Anita. What you're going to do is email hello@pupford.com and let them know what training treats you want, and they will send them out to you. Okay, now let me go back and see if I missed anything. Oh, Julie, yeah, from all the fighting and all the excitement when we get home. Yeah, I mean, it's probably a good idea to use a anti-anxiety med while you go through training and behavior modification. And if there's a way that you can separate them and separate their crates so that even when they're in their crates, they're not next to each other, so that they can really be calm. So like their own space. That might help too if you separate them. If they're fighting, not getting along, stuff like that. And that's another reason I would separate them. So when you let Dakota out of her crate, she still goes to Ellie's and starts to bark and growl. So I would put the crates in two totally different rooms. Maybe let Ellie out first so that Dakota can't go to her crate. Let Ellie out first, and then go let Dakota out. Have a baby gate that separates them, and then when they're calm, then they can go together. That's what I would do. I would set it up somehow so that Dakota can't get to Ellie's crate. It's just not possible. And that way he can't, or she can't practice that behavior. Yeah, he did. So you know what I just did? We had a custom built chair cart for him. And now he doesn't even need it. But I just ordered a whole big case of diapers. Well, like a month ago. They're still on my porch. And that was when I discovered that he was trying to go outside and go potty. And then when I started to not crate him and let him use the dog door and go outside, he hasn't had an accident unless I close the dog door. So I just yesterday called up some of the young new mothers in my neighborhood and I said, hey, there's a whole box of size 4 Loves on my porch. First come, first serve. Whoever wants them, come get them. Because I don't think he's going to need them. I have a few if we do public events or something, and I will put him in a diaper if we're going to be inside. But other than that, we haven't needed him at all, which I have to say is so nice because at night it was a whole thing. You know, I had to get his diaper out and I have to use regular diapers, not dog diapers, because he had pooped through the hole that's there for the tail. And then I would put a diaper liner, which just looks like a maxi pad basically. And I would put that on to cover his little boy part because the diaper doesn't cover that. So I would put that on, and then I would put a washable diaper on over all that. So he had 1, 2, 3 layers of diaper on at night, and it was a pain. So I'm so glad now that he'll just go in the crate and sleep and let himself out, and it's amazing. Yeah, he's doing great. So anyway, that looks like that's all the questions. We had a good group tonight. I'm excited. We had a few new people too. I'm just going to make sure I didn't miss anything. It's really going to bug me that I cannot remember that other veterinary behaviorist's name. Martin, Dr. Martin. I did it. I knew it started with an M. Dr. Martin. I don't know what his first name is, but if you Google Dr. Martin, veterinary behaviorist, I bet, I'm going to do it right now. I bet it'll come up. So his website, oh yeah, it's Dr. Ken Martin, and Debbie Martin is his wife, and she's a dog trainer and also a vet tech. Maybe they're from Texas. Why was I thinking Missouri? Anyway, they are teamanimalbehavior.com. Yep, that's him. They are in Texas. Man, why I thought it was Missouri, I have no idea. So yeah, they're another really good veterinary behaviorist that you could use. So okay, well, thanks for joining, you guys, and great questions tonight. Thank you for making it interesting, and I will see you next week. Let me see when we're doing next week. It's probably going to be on Wednesday, and I have a convention in Salt Lake City all day, so it's probably going to be later, like 7. So we'll probably do a 7 p.m. on Wednesday live next week. So hope you can join us, and thanks everybody for coming, and have a great week.